Hello everyone, I'm Yvonne, a children's librarian here at the Manchester City Library, and welcome to Elementary Experiments. Here we do experiments and activities aimed at elementary grades 1 through 6 with a focus on STEAM, or science, technology, engineering, art, or math. This fall we are changing up our dates. So we are going to have in-person events at 3:30 p.m. on the second Wednesday and the fourth Tuesday of the month. We will be putting up our videos at the same time as our in-person experiments, which again is a little different than how we normally do it during the school year. But if you want to join us in person next time, please visit our website to register. Remember, in-person attendance will also guarantee you a kit to make our craft with. Although any extra crafts will be available at the Children's Reference Desk for anyone's grade 1 through 6 who wants to make them at home, possibly following along with our videos. Now that we've got all of that covered, let's get into this week's elementary experiments. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's elementary experiments, where we are talking about carbonation and carbon dioxide. So in carbonation, you might know it best from sodas, where when you open a soda, a lot of bubbles come up, and that is called carbonation. It's called a carbonated beverage. In soda, the carbonation is made up of CO2, or carbon dioxide molecules. That's when you have one carbon atom and two oxygen atoms attached together to form a molecule. And so all of the CO2 is dissolved thoroughly with the water in the soda pop. And so when you open up the soda can or bottle, the carbon dioxide begins to come out of the soda and into the air. And eventually it will all go out, and that's when we call the soda flat, or that it no longer bubbles and is probably old and you might not want to drink it. So there are other ways of playing with carbon or carbonation or carbon dioxide, and we are going to look at two different things today. So if you're following along at home, we have our activity and our craft. So our activity, we are going to look at a different kind of carbonation, which you might also be familiar with, where we are going to be using baking soda and vinegar to create our carbon dioxide, and we are going to be using it to launch our container rockets. So if you are going to do that, make sure that you have some adult supervision and that you have a safe place to launch it from. And then we are also going to look at carbon dioxide that comes out of our bodies. Less bubbles, but still very interesting. So when we breathe out, we are breathing out carbon dioxide after breathing in oxygen. You might also know that other carbon dioxide is then what plants use to help themselves live and grow, and they release oxygen for us to breathe back in. But in this case, we are going to be taking a look at the carbon dioxide we breathe and putting that through its own experiment for our craft. So let's go ahead and gather what we need to do our activity, and I will run you through real quick how to go about doing it. So for our baking soda rockets, we have our sealable film canister containers. Now these were not originally meant to help foam. We did get these just off of Amazon, but if you do have some old film containers lying around, those would be awesome. Ask parents, grandparents for those. They all also are a little bit hard to open and close, so we're definitely going to practice that before we add our baking soda and vinegar, because the timing for these rockets can be a little bit tricky, but for now I'm going to put that aside. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to also want to grab our baking soda, our vinegar, We have some tissue paper here, also something like toilet paper, or even like a thin napkin or paper towel, like maybe if you take it apart a little bit, that will be good and work. So we are going to take our baking soda here and about a teaspoon, and we are going to put it in the middle of our paper towel or tissue paper, whatever it is that we are using. And then we are going to fold this up in whatever way you think is best. You can fold it like this to make a little packet. It might be easier to just fold over and then like twist the ends like you're making a little a sweet, like a little candy wrapper. That might be the most secure. So the trick is that we want this to be our time release. So we want it to take a little bit of time for the vinegar to soak through the packaging of our baking soda, and then so that the vinegar doesn't react to the baking soda right away, that it has to soak through and then hit the baking soda and start bubbling, because we need time to put the baking soda package into our container, to close the container to make sure that no air is going to escape or no gases, and then to flip it over and set it cleanly on the flat surface outside, at least 6 feet away from any building, and then back up, because it is going to launch with kind of a lot of force. I mean, hopefully kind of a lot of force. That's the goal. So we want to make sure that we are well away by the time the chemical reaction makes it launch, and that we are far enough away from buildings and other people that we are not going to hurt anyone. Because remember, the very first rule that we have in elementary experiments is to be safe. Then it is to have fun and learn something. But we want to be safe first of all, which also reminds me that you probably are going to want to wear some form of eye protection. So if you have safety goggles, that would be amazing. But otherwise, other goggles, or at the very least, some form of sunglasses. If you have nothing else, but like I said, be careful. Make sure it's okay with adults, because this is also going to, not only could the rocket potentially fly up before you're ready, but it is also going to spray some baking soda and vinegar, and you want to make sure that your eyes are protected. So I know that was a lot, but oh gosh, this is also hard to open. So definitely practice being able to drop the packet in, close it, flip it over, and back away before we add our vinegar. So our vinegar, we're going to want about 2 tablespoons, right? So it would be 2 of these here. And when we're ready, we're going to put it in to our thing. We are going to then take it outside to the safe spot that we have prepared after we've done our practice. And then we are going to drop this in, close it, flip it, back away. Okay. I hope that you guys have fun with this and do it safely. If you don't have any paper things, or you're not sure about really being fast enough, there is an alternative way of mixing a little bit of water with your baking soda and packing it into the middle of this cap, so that you can close it, and the idea is that the baking soda will stay in the cap and give you more time to flip it over. But they can fall out, and also I've heard that it doesn't go up as high, but that is an alternative if you guys think that that will work better for you. Okay, good luck with that. I would love to hear from anyone who does the experiment at home to tell me how well your rocket flew. If you come through the library at any point, be sure to let me know, or anyone else at the children's desk, because I think this is really quite fun. So for our craft, I'm doing a little bit of an experiment within our experiment. For anyone who is wanting just to do this at home, I have done set up a little bit more of an experiment to see if we can make this a little bit safer for you guys at home, and see what works better. So first off is we have some red cabbage. You may not have seen or eaten this before, but it is just a red cabbage that you can get at the grocery store. And what's really interesting about red cabbage is that it acts as a pH indicator. So pH is a scale that we have created, and that scientists and other people who need the information use to find out if a liquid is more acidic or more basic. So water that we humans want to drink is right in the middle of the scale. It's called a neutral pH at 7. And then the more acidic it is, you go down the scale towards 0. And the more basic it is, sometimes, especially if you guys look this up online, you might see alkaline. So all alkalines are bases, but not all bases are alkalines. And so red cabbage will change color depending on whether or not the liquid is more acidic or more basic. What I've gone ahead and done is you have to chop up your red cabbage like this. So definitely get an adult to help you, because you do need to chop it rather small, or the smaller the better for what we're doing. And you can either boil the red cabbage on a stove in water. So basically you chop up your red cabbage, you put enough water to cover the cabbage, and then you boil it for about 10 minutes to get our liquid here. Or what I tried to be a little bit more all ages friendly is I put some of our chopped up red cabbage in a little baggie, and I filled it full of warm water, not boiling, just warm. And I'm going to use our strainer to strain out all of the little cabbage pieces that are still in there. I've already strained this because it was hot, so I needed to be a lot more careful when doing that. But let's see, for this one, we have a strainer, and I'm going to put both of these into 2 glasses. So we're going to have one that we're going to use for our test, and then one that we're going to use for our control. So let me go ahead and pour this out before we talk more about that. So here we have the juice that I got from boiling. It is much darker, definitely more purple. And here from our bags, not as dark, but for what we're going to do, I think the one that we got out of our bags might end up being easier for us. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this straw and I am going to put it into our test, right? So for mine, I should label these. One second. Okay, so now I have these labels. Let's see if you guys can see them. We've got boiled control, our boiled test, our bag control, and our bag test. Now our control is the part of the experiment that we don't do anything to. So that is used as our comparison. So for when we do our test, I'm going to take the straw that we have I'm going to put it into here, and I'm actually going to blow through it. And I'm going to see if my carbon dioxide from my breath is going to change the color or the pH of this cabbage juice. And then I'm going to compare it to the control that we didn't do anything to see if there has been a change. And then I'm going to do the same thing to our one that we made in a bag, and I'm going to see which one is better. All right, I think I can see a change, but the colors are pretty dark. So I'm going to wait until I have tested our second one before saying for sure. Also, just as a quick aside, if you guys are going to do this, because we are blowing bubbles just like we would in chocolate milk, you might want to get like a cover, like either a paper towel or like saran wrap or something, so that you don't stain your clothes with the bubble popping on the surface, because the red cabbage can stain. So just so you know. So I'm going to go ahead. I have kind of wiped off this. I'm not too worried about cross-contamination, which is where we get one experiment into another experiment or thing that we're testing. But I did wipe off my straw just in case. And we're going to go ahead and blow some bubbles into this one to see if there's a difference. Now that we have done all of our blowing into our cabbage juice, I definitely think that I see a difference in color. So with red cabbage, you're going to be at kind of like a purple color to start out with. It depends on your water. Water is not always at a pH 7. It could be a little bit more acidic or a little bit more basic. And, you know, it's not going to affect how it is to drink necessarily, but it might vary a little bit. But that's what we start out with. That's with kind of like our controls. The one that let me show you with these guys. So this is our boiled control. I'll put this white background on. Maybe you guys can see a little bit. So it is kind of more of a purple, it's just a deeper color. And this is our bag control. So you guys can see it is still purple, although I think you guys might see it more as a blue. And then the more, when you put something acidic in it, it goes more pink to red. And if you put something more basic in it, it's going to go blue to yellow. So we are going to look at the ones that I blew bubbles into with my own homemade version of carbonation. So this is our boil test here. Again, not sure you guys can see, but we're going to work on that too. And this is our bag test, which I think you guys can see a little bit more. So by me looking at them, they both look like they have gotten maybe a little bit more pink. So I'm not sure that you guys were able to see the colors change super well with the camera setup that we have, but I can definitely tell that there has been a color change. And honestly, I think that just through the visual observing that we're doing, that doing the bag method with warm water actually does work better. So I'm going to make sure that the instructions on the opening screen give the instructions on how to do that one, because not only is it safer, but I think that it's easier to see the color change happening. These are actually just too dark, which is really cool for other things, but not for what we're doing. Okay, so go ahead and test it yourself, see if you get the same outcomes that I did, and I hope that you enjoy. I will say that if you have some extra cabbage juice, or even with the one that you have now, since we didn't do anything but breathe in them, if you have some other bases and acids to play with, it's a really great time to just go a little bit wild, as long as you're doing it safely. So if you have some like lemon juice or orange juice, or the baking soda that we used in our previous activity, add those to different bits of cabbage juice and see how that changes the color. Not exactly carbonation, but still more ways to have fun with science. So go forth and experiment with your pH values. All right, everyone, this comes to the end of this week's elementary experiments. I hope that you had some fun at home. I will remind you that if you want to come by, you can pick up our craft kits for as long as supplies last. And if you would like to join us next time for elementary experiments, please visit the Manchester City Library website and please register for our next date. This is our last September one, so our next one will be the second Wednesday of October. So looking forward to that, and I hope you are too. At the end of this video, I will give you a preview on our theme for October, and I will also recommend some books if you are interested in carbon dioxide or breathing or other fun experiments. We have some books here at the Manchester City Library that you might want to check out. So until next time, bye.